Hey guys, so I'm going to teach you how you can build this AI agent in n8n, which is basically a web scraper AI agent that can scrape any website, right? So this is really useful for to understand how your competitors are structuring their content and SEO on the website. So just to kind of give you a visual preview, let's take a n8n website, right? Let me just bring the URL in here, and I'm going to say analyze this website for me. Guys, by the way, this entire template will be available as a free JSON template. So watch out for a download link either in the description box, or I'm going to leave that as a comment. So I'm not sure which one. So make sure to check it out, right? So let me shoot that link right here. And what's going to happen, agent will basically ask you a couple of important questions that it needs to analyze the website, right? So competitors, metrics to focus on, keywords, and business goals. So in this case, I'm going to say something like choose for me, right? But in your case, I do suggest highly that you actually go through each of these metrics, right? Because that's going to determine the quality of the report, right? And when I say report, it's actually going to send you a pretty solid email report like this. Okay, so everything is already pre-made for you. So the formatting, it's a custom HTML for email formatting. I did everything for you. So you don't really have to do any of that. So kind of it goes from this reference right here in the agent node, right? So here I'm kind of defining the CSS styles and HTML format, so you can get something like this, right? So really professional, really almost ready to go, even if you want to send it to your client, for example, right? So let's go back to n8n and let's drive this flow. So I'm going to go back to chat node, and I'm just going to say for the purpose of demo, choose for me, and let's go ahead and send that. So now it's basically going to use two AI agents, right? So the way it's structured, we have the main AI agent, right? Which is basically sort of the main AI agent that will create strategy for the AI agent assistant, which is basically AI agent tool right here. So it's going to create a strategy and basically what to focus on and what kind of data we want to extract from this website, right? So it's going to send all the requirements to this web scraper AI agent, which is basically attached to an actual web scraper from Tavly, right here. So it's attached to Tavly web scraper. And if you want to use that in your workflow, make sure to go to Tavly and create an account. And I believe you get like 1,000 requests per month that are on a free tier. Okay, so it's pretty generous and pretty cool. So again, let me quickly show you how to do that. Go to tavly.com, then basically sign up. In my case, I'm gonna log in, and I'm just gonna use my Google email. And once you do, just go basically here under API keys, create new API key. You can name it whatever you want, and then you can generate API key. Go back to n8n, open Tavly, then under credentials, click here, create new credential, and copy paste the API key in here, and that's pretty much it. That's as easy as it is. And you get basically 1,000 free credits monthly, which is pretty generous and more than enough for basic tasks like these, for example. Cool, and this is how it looks like. So if I just expand a little bit, so I have like a full SEO analysis report for n8n.io, right? So the summary, really overview, what kind of a website that is, right? Technical SEO, and the focus. So we have technical SEO, content analysis, and competitor benchmarking. And it basically gives a full findings, right? I'm just not sure why it gave me this. Okay, that's because it's technical SEO, so it's basically giving a meta description and content analysis. Okay, that's actually pretty useful for technical SEO. Content analysis, competitor analysis. Basically, it's benchmarking that against Zapier and other similar AI automation platforms. Really cool. Recommendations, action items, stuff like that. And if I go to my email right here, I should have an email with the updated report for n8n. Actually, not yet because I didn't ask it to send it to me. Okay, so in order to send email, you need to confirm with the agent that you want an email to be sent to you. Right here it is. Would you like me to send this report to email provided, I believe, in this node right here? Okay, guys. So when you're going to be using this workflow, make sure to change this to your email because right now it's going to my email. So if you're not going to change yet, all of those emails will be coming to me, okay? So make sure to basically change this to your email. I'm going to say, yes, please do that. And now we're going to receive an email with the report, which will be nicely formatted for us. All right, and here it is. So we have a nicely formatted report using our template right here. So summary, okay, optimize, page speed, mobile responsiveness, SEO health. So everything's good to go. So the key findings here. So again, don't really think about this too much, but this is a really important format when you're doing technical analysis for SEO. I'm just not sure what formatted that in this format, but that's okay for now. Then we have content analysis, competitor analysis, and recommendations, right? So a couple things I want to fix here before. So the date for some reason it's stayed as a placeholder. So let's see what's happening in here. So let me open up the agent right here. So the date should be good to go. I believe it's because we should also insert the date in here, right? So if we go to the template right here, the problem is mostly coming from here. Yeah, so it's right here. I don't know why I didn't change the placeholder. That's weird. So let's put it in here. And I think there was another one. All right, so now it should be good for the date. It should be rendering the date correctly. So the next thing, what I want to do, since we kind of saw the demo and how it works and what's the final output, let me walk you through quickly through the entire flow. So if you're a beginner starting off in N8N, this is actually a fairly simple flow to kind of get into automations and AI agents, because it kind of covers the foundations of AI agents and really the basics of the automations in N8N, right? Again, as a reference, I'm always providing these sticky notes right here. So if you're stuck or kind of trying to understand how something works, you can always refer to this one, or just leave a comment below the video and let me know what kind of issues or errors you're facing, and I'm going to help you out. Okay, so let's start with the first one. So obviously everything in N8N starts with the chat trigger or any type of trigger node. So right now we're triggering the entire workflow using a chat. This is basically done so we can actually chat with the AI agent. There are a couple of ways you can actually do that. You can either do that to a chat trigger node, or you can use a Telegram node. So basically you can chat with the agent through Telegram. Again, if you want to learn more about how to create Telegram AI agents in N8N, make sure to check out my YouTube channel because I have a bunch of videos how to create Telegram AI agents as well. So once we triggered the workflow with all the data, requirements. So here we just set analyze this website for me, and then it goes to AI agent. And then if it doesn't have enough of the data, it's going to ask you a couple more questions, right? Because we are defining that in here, right? So ask for URL, competitors, metrics focus, and keywords and business goals. Okay, so these are mandatory ones. If the agent doesn't have that by default, it's going to ask you. And if you don't provide that, it's just not going to proceed further with the flow, right? So these are mandatory, basically, fields that a agent must have before it can go and launch the entire analysis. So the prompt is pretty extensive, I would say. We have the definition of the AI agent. This is really important for all AI agents. You always need to define what is the role of an agent and what it's supposed to do. Then the mission, what's kind of the end goal, core capabilities, that's what we just covered. And then analysis and planning, right? So we are defining what we are looking for. So we need basically to run analysis on technical SEO audit, right? Page speed, mobile, how well it's crawlable using basically bots and robots. Then we have content audit, keyword density, competitor benchmarking, right, against other competitors in the same niche. And then you need to describe basically what kind of tools it has access to. Okay, otherwise it's gonna have workflow errors saying that you haven't defined a tool that agent has access to. So you need to basically explain in basic terms what tools it has access to and what they're supposed to do, right? So web scraper agent, that's the one right here. If I close this up, this is the web scraper agent that has access to as a tool. So we're basically defining what it can do with that, which is in the sense which pages to fetch, what elements to extract, and how to return JSON outputs for logging, right? And basically here we're defining a report delivery, which is basically a Gmail tool, and we are instructing how to format that, right? So we're providing a example HTML template for the email, including some CSS, header structure, and all the basics. And then here are dynamic variables that we are expecting to pass from previous nodes to this one. So yeah, that's about for the main agent prompt right here. And then we're passing that data to the actual web scraper agent, right? So it's a tools agent, right? So that's a fairly new feature from N8N. Before, you would need to basically chain agents or call agents from different subflows. Now you can basically have multiple agents performing different actions in the same workflow, right? So really easy to chain them and really create a team of AI agents that can do a lot of things at the same time within the same workflow, right? So this is specifically web scraper AI agent. As I mentioned, it's connected to web scraper, and web scrapers, what they do, guys, if you don't know about it, basically they can scrape anything that's on the web, and they have access to a real-time data, right? So really important if you want to run accurate reports, because it can access anything as early as something that was posted yesterday, right? So as soon as it gets indexed on the Google, the web scraper has an access to that, and it can do deep web scraping, meaning that it can pretty much access everything across the website. Obviously not, logging in into accounts or sensitive information, but everything that is not blocked behind creating an account or like paywalls, it can easily access all of that for any website, right? And each of the AI agents has a model, right? Because a agent on its own doesn't have the brain or whatever, right? So you need to basically attach a chat model. And in most cases, I'm using 4.0 or 4.0 mini model. I believe 4.0 is not compatible with tools. So if you try to add 4.0, it's going to say that you're using a model that's not compatible with tools. So I like 4.0 mini because again, it's fairly cheap. It has a good context window, and it's not as slow as ChatGPT 5 model, right? It's a recent release, and every time I use ChatGPT 5 model, it takes a lot of time. So I feel like it's not yet optimized. So I'll wait for their next upcoming models, and I'll see how that goes. But for now, the best performance really and the cost-wise, the 4.0 mini model is really the best choice for these type of workflows. All right, and the last one really what we are using here is a memory context, right? So the way it works, it's essentially a memory for AI agents. So we're giving a 5 context windows to an agent, meaning that AI agent can look back to 5 past conversations. So if you want to, I don't know, maybe adjust something in your previous request or report, right? You can just kind of say, hey, can you like remind me what we did like for I don't know and what was the research, what we did there, and it's going to be able to look back to it max 5 context windows. Okay, you can bump it up to 10 or even 20, whatever. Just keep a reminder that every time it does that, it's going to go through the entire context window, meaning that the tokens will be token usage will be much higher, right? Because it has to go through much more data, right? So kind of would be mindful of that, right? So if you want to create something more scalable, I would suggest using something like maybe Supabase or PostgreSQL. Those are actually like solid databases. And then you can do like something like a vectorized database where you can chunk everything into a smaller chunks, much more semantic, right? So I'm going to actually have a couple more videos coming up on that topic. Make sure to like and subscribe so you can get notified when that video drops exactly. Okay, guys, and that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe as I mentioned, because every time I drop a video, I always write free JSON templates. So make sure to enable those notifications so you don't miss out on these videos and free JSON templates, right, guys? And as always, leave a comment if there's anything or if you have any issues with your workflows or anything in general. If any questions, let me know down in the comments. But if not, as always, I'm going to wish you a happy building and I'm going to see you next time.